Hello and welcome to part 3 of my series on photographing paintings. I decided to do a video for this portion whereupon I'm editing my photographs in Photoshop. We basically skipped the step in Lightroom where I'll make adjustments to color, contrast, and cropping. I reckon you can figure that out on your own pretty well. But this next bit is the most challenging bit I found. Um, as a byproduct of photographing the way I do, you'll see that you get these little bright highlights that are reflections from the peaks of my textured board. I'm going to crop this image so that we just get a portion. I will select both bright and dark areas because there's different challenges involved with both. So let's go ahead and work with this. And then generally, I will work at 100% zoom, so I can really see clearly what's going on. And I guess here we're going to zoom out a little bit. So first thing you do is you select the blue layer. You can work with any of these channels, actually. It's not a layer. But the blue generally is the one that has the least amount of contrast. You make a duplicate of that channel, and then you bring up the levels command. Using levels, we're going to try and get just the highlight portions, and you can see we have a challenge here and that this area is very bright, this area is very dark. I'm going to show you now what we're going to do about that. One of the main things I figured out is to leave this alone. Go ahead and bring that in there. Then I click OK. I go to my brush and I select overlay mode. With overlay selected, I have black as my foreground color, and what you can see what overlay does, basically it will leave the brightest bits and only darken the darkest bits. Like example, you see that little bright spot there. Then I'll go back into levels and start bringing things up. I'm not as worried about little highlight peaks in that bright area. As you can see, as I move these sliders, I get various results. I really want to try and get as many as I can without actually getting color in the art. That looks pretty good to me. So as you can see here, we have a nice channel mask for most of these little highlight peaks here. Next step is to go to maximum, and I work with a setting of 1 or 2. I think with this image I'm going to use 1. Then I make a selection. I go up to the composite image, and here I'm going to modify my mask and expand it by 1. You could do the same thing in either place. I mean, you could expand it by 2, or you could expand maximum by 2, or you could just leave it at 1. And I'm going to zoom way in so you can see what this looks like. As you can see, there's our little highlights surrounded by little tiny masks. Okay, next step. We're going to go up to Fill, Edit Fill, and then select Content Aware, and we're going to run that. And this is the greatest time saver that Photoshop's put out in ages, which can be used to obfuscate a figure in a landscape or change any element of your picture. Basically samples information in the general picture and uses it to fill the selected area. And it's brilliant. Okay. As you can see, content aware fill takes quite a while. That's one of the reasons I cropped just a small portion of the image for us to work. But I did want to show a bright area and a dark area because there's different challenges with both. So far we're at like 5 minutes. So that's not doing too bad. When you'll see the improvement we've made here is dramatic at 100%. If I go back to my previous stage, you can see what I've removed. Quite a lot. Okay, now for anything that might be left, generally I'll stay in that 100 zoom. I finish up with this healing tool. The one that I use is the spot healing brush. That seems to work best. And I will keep my brush size not too small. I'm using a pressure sensitive tablet, so actually this did such a good job. There's not much for me to do here, but for example, say I want to clean up a bit like that. Let's make this a little bigger. You can see using this, I just rub over that area and it will remove that little highlight. This process is painstaking, but not as painstaking as if you don't do that content aware fill step. Actually, this looks real good. You can do as much or as little of this as you want. This was a textured board, so I don't necessarily feel the need to get rid of all these specular highlights. But all in all, I'd say I'm pretty happy with that. From there, basically, I'll just save my image. In this case, I'm not going to save since it's a crop version. And it's ready to go.